Okay, so my name is Cristi Stiers, and I'm a chemical industry executive, which basically means I've run a lot of chemical companies over the past 20 years. And so what I thought I would do in my comments, many of the things that I thought I was going to say during this time have been so much better said earlier today that I'm not going to dull your brains or your thinking and repeat those to you. So I thought I would take a little bit of a different tact on this and talk about what I know, which is the practical application of ethics and how it works in a global, huge global chemical businesses. One of the areas that I think is really interesting, and I think Brian touched on it this morning, is the idea in the chemical industry about a safety culture. And a safety culture is paramount in any kind of reputable company. And of course, my latest role was with Dow Chemical. I spent 9 years there, and Dow is seen as one of the leaders, not just in the chemical industry as it relates to safety, but one of the leaders in the world when it comes to workplace safety. So whether you're talking about a manufacturing site or you're talking about a sales office, safety is of equal value. Everybody wants to go home alive. Everybody wants to go home to friends and family safe and sound. There are a number of programs that have been put in place over years that have been quite effective with a concept of drive to zero. The next iteration became not only is it your job to speak up, but to look out for your other compatriots. And are you willing to say something to that person who's walking down the stairs with a box in both hands, not holding onto a handrail? What you find is that these kind of cultures spill over into your everyday lives. You take them home, you give them to friends, you give them to family, and it becomes a part of what you do. So a big part of this safety culture then can springboard and kind of help pull along this idea of ethics, because when you think about a company, a large chemical company or a large multinational company, you've got people all over the globe with all sorts of value systems, all sorts of beliefs, coming in through acquisition, coming in through JVs, coming in through a multitude of ways. And how do you equalize the playing field so that everyone understands the importance of an ethics program? And one of the ways you do that is by piggybacking on something that you already have in place that's quite effective. Everyone understands safety if you work in a chemical environment. Like I said, everybody wants to go home safely. So because you are not just taking the online exams and the testing and the situational analysis and all of that, you're having regular discussions. It's a perfect time to incorporate not just safety aspects, but ethical discussions as well. And so now I look back and I see, and whether it was intentional or not, those are the types of things that would happen. Those are the kind of things that would occur, which I think really helped to propel the company, particularly across cultures and across country barriers. So another thing that we would use, or good tools that we would use, and this happened in all of the companies that I was in, but very prominently in the last one, was a simple list of questions. And frankly, the first list of questions, the first question is it legal? It sounds so simple, but when you're dealing with some of the situations, and I think probably many of us here, depending upon what industry you're aligned with, think, well, wow, it should be easy to answer that question, right? I know what's legal and what's not. It's not that easy. There's a lot of those little gray areas that we've been talking about, and it's like, well, maybe this, maybe that. So, you can imagine, and I won't waste your time going through the list now, but it starts with, is it legal? And the last question that you have to answer is, would you be willing to give the decision in front of your community, a public forum, your CEO, your family, your friends, your clergy, or whoever is your spiritual advisor? Can it pass the red face test? So some of these questions seem very simple and simplistic, but people across cultures, across boundaries can understand these. We all deal with all of these same concepts. So sometimes the answers are more difficult, but it's, I think, well understood and a nice, simple tool to be able to use. And the last thing I wanted to bring up in my last little minute and a half that's remaining, one thing we haven't talked about, I don't think, enough, or I didn't hear it, and I apologize if I missed it, is around the whole idea of stakeholders and how you can change from maybe you have an ethical issue in regards to someone you're purchasing materials from, so it's a supplier, maybe it's someone you're selling to. I had this happen to a very large company I was selling to. If I said the name, everyone in this room would recognize it. They're highly recognized for internationally recognized for their safety record. What I found out in one of their plants, they were actually using caustic soda, which is highly corrosive to the skin, on their plant floors. That's how they cleaned. So when they were hiring people in, it wasn't a matter of if you get burned by caustic soda, it's when. And people were taking the jobs. So once we found this out, I could have easily said, I'm not going to do business with you anymore. Okay? My EH&S person and I spoke, but we knew that wasn't the right answer. The right answer was, how can we make this into an opportunity to sit down and show them where this isn't the right ethical choice to make. Just because you can use it doesn't mean you should. And so we used it as a great business tool and a great learning experience in relationship building. And they're still the customer today. So I think there are ways we can turn this around and use it for a positive outcome as well. So thank you.